You're
good.
good. My clock is wrong at home.
Goes up and down, and don't let me out.
All right, welcome everybody. It is Monday, October 4th. This is our 6:30 p.m. Select Board meeting, opening at 6:31. And we'll start as per usual with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready out.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. And so roll call of board members. Dave Hemingway, Select Board Chair.
Marlo Hara. Normandy Blake.
All right, and that moves us on to announcements and the project status update.
You need one?
Yeah, of course I do.
I'll go.
Oh, don't.
You'll share.
Did the board get to look at the draft that was written in accordance with everything that we had stated? And did either of you have any changes that you wanted to make beforehand to that?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. So we'll get to that announcement last, but first I'll announce that the last walk with the chair, where I do Q&A with folks as we take a walk someplace in town, will be this Thursday, the 7th at 1 p.m. as the weather's changing and along with the seasons. So it won't always be appropriate for us to just go walking everywhere. Next up, small schools. The school board meeting tonight at 7:15 p.m. We forgive you if you leave here early to check that out or stream two things at once. Is scheduled to cover the first demographic bits of the data from the small school study. You can find more information out about that and a live stream that may still be that may be unavailable for later viewing on the MVSD website. The small school study information shows up under the school board area of the site, and more details of that and the final the final for that should be available soon. They wanted to include the October data from it. Of note, on October 19th at 6:30 p.m., I believe that's a Tuesday, we have the Webster community meeting with the school district here in this hall in Webster. So be sure to attend to hear what they have to say and let your voice be heard. October is Fire Prevention Month. This is a good time to check and replace your fire alarm and carbon monoxide detector batteries, expired detectors, and to make sure that your home fire extinguisher shows that it has charge and will work. If you have questions on any of this, I'm sure our local fire department would be happy to help you out with looking at your extinguisher at one of their Wednesday night meetings. And if you don't have fire alarms, the Red Cross of New Hampshire and Vermont will assist in installing fire alarms for you in this area. You can call their Concord, New Hampshire area line at 1-800-464-6692 to schedule a free home fire safety check and smoke alarm install. October is also Energy Efficiency Month. As most have noticed, we are now getting cooler weather and some lovely fall colors starting to arrive. If you haven't already, be sure to check, tune, clean your heating system and chimney to make sure it is ready to safely and efficiently keep you warm all winter, because chimney fires aren't the way to keep your house warm. October is also Cybersecurity Awareness Month. It would be wise for everybody to learn how to spot things that may be a threat to them, and CISA, or CISA.gov, which stands for the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, is a good place to look. At the top right, they'll have a little banner that you can click specifically for the month with little updates and tips and tricks for you. A quick update that you'll hear about later on for the town is that we've now enabled multi-factor authentication for town computer use, bringing us up to the common security standard practices in that area. More work will be done in the future as we go over town policies, including how cybersecurity and resiliency of operations factor into and work with record retention, network use, emergency preparedness, and other policies. PLVD, or the Pillsbury Lake Village District. The Pillsbury Lake Clubhouse would like to invite all of Webster to join their Halloween festival on October 30th at 396 Deer Meadow Road. This will include candy, games, and a children's costume contest, all followed by trunk or treat. The festival runs from 3 to 5, with the costume contest at 5 and the trunk or treat from 5:30 to 6:30. If you need more information, contact the PLVD Commissioner Marks. Zoning. As a point of note, since we are currently amidst and considering zoning amendments with the wetlands protection stuff, it is good to remind everybody that you can either stop by the town offices and see Russ, or just sign up on our website to make sure that you receive direct email notices whenever zoning and or other public hearings happen. The next one for that is coming soon after the planning board posts the draft changes to account for the feedback that they were given at last month's public hearing. That brings us to the following is the official statement from the Select Board regarding the Walker Pond property issue. As most are aware, there was a deal done in 2019 to sell the property in question by the town to the previous treasurer. That was done in a non-public meeting with sealed minutes, since unsealed by this board, and not in accordance with best practices for non-public session use. While not done in the spirit of the town's procedures and policies, the deal was seen by the board at the time to be in the best interest of the town via a unanimous vote to accept the purchase offer. There are a few main concerns that people have had, which will now be addressed. First, there is the transaction process for the purchaser due to the RSA 95-1 violation and the town policies. That was brought to court by the Merrimack County Attorney against the purchaser and is now a closed case. A fine and required resignation from then current town positions was the result of the verdict. Any further action by the Select Board along these lines would not be legally appropriate, as the case has already been tried. Second, especially in light of the incorrect process, it would have been advisable for one of the Select Board members at the time to abstain from the vote due to a perceived conflict of interest from joint property ownership. However, even if it was deemed to be a legal conflict of interest, none of the Select Board members that conducted this transaction remain on the Select Board, nor is the previous town administrator still an employee. So the legal action of removing anybody with a part in the transaction from their then current position for the incorrect procedures is also not an option. Third is consideration of the property itself and our fraud policy that states, quote, all cases involving monetary losses to the town will pursue recovery of losses, end quote. While some have suggested this means the Select Board must bring suit to have the sale nullified and property returned to the town, that path is fraught with potential legal issues for the case and the town going forward, as well as high legal costs for the Webster residents and taxpayers. The sum of the sale was for the back taxes the lots had been deeded for and the processing fees, much as Webster has sold other tax-deeded property for, and as we currently start the bids for property at while following the selling of property policy today. Since the town wouldn't have been able to keep any additional funds beyond the sale price, there aren't really monetary losses, but rather the sale would likely be considered to be in the best financial interest of the town, collecting both the purchase price and future taxes. While the Select Board could have pursued the path of a lawsuit, it was not a likely victory as a previous Select Board approved the deal. In addition, should the town have won, Webster likely would have also had to pay to have the land returned, further financially burdening Webster residents. In that light, and that at least two of us were elected specifically based on financial prudence and to get things done, we have unanimously decided as the current Select Board, with the recommendation of the town's legal counsel, to pursue a different, more swift, and less litigious path to closure of this issue. A permanent conservation easement covering the whole lot to best follow the prior recommendations of the Planning Board and Conservation Commission has been put into place and granted to the town of Webster. This easement has had no financial payment to the owner, as would generally be customary, but is based on the legal considerations. This will keep tax income come from the lot, not require financial outlay from the town, as well as maintain the conservation purpose it was always recommended to have. To quote Ronald Reagan and JFK respectively, "It is time to restore the American precept that each individual is accountable for his actions. Let us not seek to fix the blame for the past. let us accept our own responsibility for the future. As a board, we will always strive to do the best we can for the town and to be responsible and transparent with our accountabilities. While any chosen course of action would likely have detractors, we feel that this is the most prudent thing for Webster, both financially and productively, allowing us to get back to fully focusing on what can benefit everybody in town, such as the projects that you're about to hear more about. All right, so that will bring us to the project update.
When Adam just left, we would built that home off the ground.
And while you may not notice easily, you certainly can't read it. Again, this is what it looks like, and we put it up on the website each month. So if you are following along, that will definitely be up on our website soon, if not already. And so I will run down some of the current projects and where we are with them. Clothespin Bridge is on track, still with the 2022 expected construction date. The fee schedules are in progress, the research is complete, and we expect that to happen this month after a public hearing. You'll hear more about that later in this meeting. The salt shed boundary research has been going on. We hope to have access complete in 2022 now. A letter to and discussion with butters is next on the schedule for that. For Town Hall here, everything is ongoing. We continue to move through lots of projects. So we have had the water test completed, and the stairs, ramp, and railings have been completed, and we're also looking towards paving, and all of that should be happening this month. The next upcoming steps are security, including the doors and fobs, key fobs, the hallway, and touch-up paint. As you may have noticed, we have the new LED emergency lights over the past couple months, and so we need to make sure that everything is appropriate surrounding them. And then also refrigerators and ADA compliance. White Plains Bridge is still behind schedule, and the engineering is incomplete. Expected completion is ASAP, but we do not have a time frame. So the next steps are for us to decide on the future direction of the project, as the DES application and associated engineering is still not complete. Town property sales. Some completed and back are on the tax list at this point. That is continually ongoing. We have had public hearings. We'll have one more tonight. Then we are also putting properties up to bid. The recently deeded properties are now in the legal process to allow us to be able to do that again once they are ready. Deer Meadow Solar is in progress. That is still expected to be constructed in 2023. The pilot agreement recommendation letter we are expecting here at the Select Board shortly from the Solar Subcommittee. The Wetlands Ordinance is in progress, and that will of course be at the 2022 or this year's town vote. The Planning Board public hearings will happen once they have the latest changes done and added into the draft for the next set of public hearings, and then the town vote. Concord Drive is still in progress. That is expected to be closing up this week, hopefully. If not, definitely by the end of this month. And so thank you, Emmett, and also to the crew that has been down there from PLVD with the water workers in making sure that that's getting taken care of. Contracts are in progress, will be done by the end of the year. We'll discuss more about that this evening. Records retention is in progress, and we hope to have a policy for everybody by town meeting. The committee is drafting that policy and documenting the records and documents that will be included to it in it initially. Policy review has started. That should be done by the end of the year, and that is the Select Board going over and either reaffirming or making changes to policies of the town as needed. The next step there is a board meeting workshop for us on October 12th. for the budget that started, and of course, that always happens by the 2022 town meeting. We talk about it, make amendments, and pass them there. There will be a public hearing before that, date not as of yet known, and we are starting with department meetings this month to discuss the proposed budgets. And last, the CIP has started. Hopefully they will be done by the end of this month, and they provide lots of input from all of the different departments in factoring into and scheduling the budget and our trust funds and reserve funds. And so that is our status update, which moves us on to the public hearing. Do we have anything specific beyond opening it that we need to announce for it?
No, it's just there's no new changes
Okay.
since your last public hearing, just the sale of lot 10,
All right.
158.
So this is now opening the public hearing at 6:47 for sale of map 10, lot 1-58. And so if you have any public comment on this and the sale of this property, please speak now.
What is the location? I mean, the actual.
Map 10, lot 1-58, and it is
It's on Windsor Terrace.
on Windsor Terrace, which is a not completed road.
Right.
All right. Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, we will go ahead and close the public hearing portion at 6:48. All right. Do we need to do anything additional to finalize that, as that was our second public hearing?
Now that you've had 2 public hearings, I guess the board can take a vote if you want to sell that lot. I know you have before, but
Yeah.
to make it official, I would do it again.
All right.
Yeah.
So I would make a motion that barring no negative public hearing comments, what's the word I'm looking for? We approve the previous bid sale as completed. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. That moves us on to appointments, which is the department head reports. So come on up, gentlemen. And people can hear somebody besides me talk.
You do a good job at it.
Yeah.
I try. Thank
Whenever
you.
he says that, all I can think is The Price is Right. I just watched that the other night. So I was waiting for you to come up and Emmett, woo! No?
Oh, I'm going easy on my woos and wows.
Don't want to get too excited.
Oh, they get me in trouble. Go ahead,
You got
my
it.
friend.
I'm
I
happy
always
to.
go first, and it's your turn tonight.
So, as of 10/1, first of the month, we have $85,558.99 remaining in our budget. That equates to 29.36%. So we're still in good shape to not overspend anything, I hope. From September 1st to the 30th, we had 91 motor vehicle stops, resulting in $1,072.60 in fines, 82 warnings, 9 summonses. We had the speed trailer down the street, bad location. Sun doesn't get to it, so it doesn't resupply the battery because it's solar powered. So we'd have to pull it out, recharge it, bring it back and set it back up. So we pulled it out, we're gonna put it someplace else in town now.
Now that keeps track of what you did see.
Right,
Yeah.
it gives us a readout of how many vehicles went through, the speeds.
Yeah.
Well, it'll give you the average speed and it'll give you a high and a low.
Yeah. So what do you,
24 hours a day, runs all the
Yeah, but I
time.
mean, do you know that like every day at 5 o'clock, there's 5 drivers that are driving 90 miles?
It'll tell you what the speed is, and it'll give you a breakdown on times.
Okay, I was just curious.
Do you happen to have the average with you?
I don't.
Okay.
We have to download it onto the computer and have them figure it out, but I can do that.
Sounds good.
We had 5 arrests and 1 protective custody, which was an IEA from one of our local places in town. The officers handled 66 calls for service, missing persons, animal complaints, unlicensed dogs. All these are the usual. Assisted the fire and EMS calls, there was 5 of those. Citizens assist, police information, sex offender registries, domestic violence petition service, vacant house checks, residential burglary alarms, welfare checks, suspicious vehicles, and suspicious persons, just as a few. So it's kind of a ongoing thing. It's about almost every month. It's pretty much the same calls that we have. It was an average month for calls. We were short-staffed because one of our part-timers tested positive for COVID. Been out for 2 weeks, so hopefully he'll be back next week and we get back up to getting extra shifts on.
Is he doing fine?
He's fine. Yep. He was sick for a couple of days. His whole family got it. He's got 4 kids and his wife, and they all got it, but nobody was hospitalized and they were good.
Very good. All right.
So, yeah, I had a bunch of stuff I can't bring up, but, all my budget stuff, but you must have that somewhere. Must not be out of money. Nothing started bouncing yet, right? No, I'm in good shape with all that. I worked with Dana. I went over, brought all my bills in from everything today and worked with Dana on that. The firehouse, we'll start with the firehouse. This month is Fire Prevention Week. We have canceled the fire prevention at the school due to the COVID that's in through the school and everybody is
6, last we knew, it was 6 confirmed cases from 1st grade all the way to 5th, and 1 teacher.
and working with Phil, Lieutenant Mitchell, I call him, just so you know, we have canceled the truck or treat Halloween night there at the fire station because of the COVID, and it's all about kids, and we love kids, but it's a lot of cleaning and a lot of stuff after everybody's crawled through that stuff, and to protect the people that are under me, to protect them, and so they can protect the rest of the town. It's kind of sad we have to do this, but you have to take care of everybody, and I guess that's my job. So Phil and I made the decision that we're gonna not do that this year.
And mine may be a few days out of date at this point, but since you mentioned the budget, it looks like you still have a little over 21% left.
Yeah. Now you just dug up my train of thought.
Sorry.
Trunk or treat was last.
Right, it was.
Chicken barbecue.
Yo, the chicken barbecue for the church, that's right where I was going on the
See,
16th.
I can read your mind,
No,
but that's
no,
scary.
thank you for helping me out. Karen King and our minister, Dave Richardson, I told them that we'd do everything. I've reached out, some people are gonna help us, and then help us so we can help them at the fire station. So I think I already asked you folks for the blessing to use the firehouse for the church, but if I forgot to, I'm asking you again.
I'm pretty sure we already.
I'm
You
pretty
did.
sure you did,
You
but,
did.
Yeah.
and I talked it over with Phil and the chief, and they were all good with that for the church.
Usually comes over real well, too. It's nice.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
nice.
And
When
when
is
is that
food.
out?
The 16th,
I think it's a
October?
Saturday,
Yeah.
16th, yeah.
and then the 17th, The Firefighters Association Relief Fund, Matt Turn has worked real hard to put a cornhole tournament together to raise money, and that's going to be held at the end of Poverty Plains Road on to Skudak over to Warner at the big horse farm. So if it's rainy or cold or something, he's made arrangements with the young lady.
I'm trying to think where you are. You said Skudak
Well, her-
and.
If you go all the way
The
down,
White Plains,
Yeah.
the big farm on the right-hand side.
Oh, yeah,
the-
right there
it's
on
a
the
young
corner.
lady, her
Yeah.
father was the Kennedy.
Kennedy.
An-
Oh, Annie, yeah,
You-
sure.
You knew who I was, yeah.
Yes, I was
Um,
coming there,
So
yes.
she's going to provide the facility, and Matt's been working with her, and they've reached out, and they've got a bunch of teams coming to do that, to raise money for the firehouse. And a lot of the other people on the association have been working along with Matt to help him with that.
So that's on the 17th.
That's on the 17th.
Will that be in the Grapevine?
No, I missed it, they never told me about that, I don't believe.
Well, I don't know, I mean, I don't know how,
Is
That's-
that,
I'm
is
just-
that just for firefighters to
well, I
participate
don't,
in? Or?
that's where it's out, but I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if somebody had a team and then came and paid their $50 to be there for the day, and they're gonna give them lunch, and, I guess, I don't know.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a bunch of different departments from around, Halterkin does the horseshoe tournament, and they do real good at that. I guess that cornhole,
That's a-
game has
the big
really
thing,
come a
yeah.
long
Popular,
ways.
yeah.
So, that's what's going on at the firehouse.
1 second.
I'm a little confused about the activity that's going on at Annie Kennedy's, or Annie Kennedy's.
Yeah,
Okay, this is, and that's on the 16th?
no,
17.
17.
17th, okay, and that is that's a private thing or a public thing? You don't know?
Oh, it's to raise money for the firefighters association.
Is that State Firefighters
No,
Association?
Webster.
Webster and?
No,
Just
no.
Webster?
Webster.
Oh, okay.
And you are who?
I am Jennifer Buck. I live in Webster, I live on Deer Meadow Road.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just attending the meeting.
No, that's great, but I just,
But I was just curious, I was a little confused, because I know that she lives in Warner.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, maybe it's a joint thing between the Warner Fire Department.
no,
and
it's just
Webster.
it's just a place that's undercover, and if it's raining and it's that time of year,
So we're
and,
using her arena
Yeah.
if necessary.
no, you're gonna use her
The arena,
arena.
no matter what.
If it's raining or the sun is shining.
Okay, and what is the time of this?
I have no clue.
No clue. It's on the 17th of October.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. For-
Peg, do you
for
happen to know
Webster-
what time it is?
Well, I know, yeah, it's basically a bunch of other firefighters, they get teams together and they play cornhole. And it's all to raise money for the association, and I think we're gonna report to Matt, around 10 and help them set up, and then they're gonna have a lunch thing, so we're helping with lunch. It's kind of like an all-day thing.
Okay, and so you pay for your lunch if you want?
No,
or you
the
buy
lunch is
general
in,
ticket?
No, the
no, the
lunch
lunch
is
is included
included.
when you
Yeah.
pay your $50 to throw
Okay.
your hole in the bag in the hole.
So
However it
it's like,
works.
Sorry, I didn't know what a
Teams of
cornhole
two,
is.
and in order to enter, the team of two pays $50, and the $50 is the tournament and your lunch, and then there's, you know,
No,
prizes. They're just kind of
they made
like
'em.
little
Yeah,
trophy things they give you and stuff.
right. And was anybody else contacted, or did she step forward and say, use my place? Was anyone else or another location that would be?
No,
Webster contact?
Matt Turn, he's, been on the firehouse for years, and he knows this young lady, and,
She's our state rep.
yeah, I don't know who she is, other
Well,
than
that's who she is.
to wave
She is
to.
our state rep.
So maybe,
I
is
just see
that
a
good or
little bit of
bad?
Political conflict here.
Well, for the money we're gonna raise that day, if
No,
you
that's
wanna
fine.
throw it
I'm
out
not- I'm
onto
not
the
suggesting
table,
that. I
and
am
we'll
suggesting
do
the
whatever, do you have a
possibility-
place for us to go?
I'm suggesting we look into them.
So-
I'm suggesting
so-
we look into somebody who isn't as politically,
So just to, you raise a valid point, but we are in the middle of the department head report.
oh, I'm
So-
sorry.
And that's right.
I'm
So,
sorry.
no matter what somebody does, somebody else always has a better idea.
Not necessarily.
Well,
but-
it's the way it's going.
Or at least a different one.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't, this is, to me, it's just to raise money, it's not, it doesn't sound politically
Yeah.
motivated. She just has a good big
It's
old
not
place.
costing us anything.
No.
It is politically motivated because she can use that to say, look how I defended and helped the Webster Fire Department, vote for me. That's what's lying underneath this.
I don't think that way.
And if we could get somebody who didn't have that sort of connection, I personally would be a lot happier. I see this as heavily politically motivated, not being
Okay.
gracious.
So let's go ahead and continue on with the department head report. And we can look at that for maybe next year's tournament.
Or we just won't have one and we'll just put a little bit more money in the budget. That's what we'll do. We'll
That's
just
not what I'm
cancel this
saying.
stuff.
Let's just keep going with the.
I,
department head report.
I've lost my train of thought now, so. I'm good.
All right, so that was fire. Let's move on to roads then.
Pillsbury Lake is, the water people have their stuff pretty much done up. They're patching in, they patched all the lines last week out on New Hampshire Drive, and they had all the pavement dug up. Today, they've got that all paved back in. They've done a great job. Last week, we hauled in, I don't know how many, 60, 70 loads of gravel. Got that into shape, a couple of more days down there, tomorrow and Wednesday. We'll have that buttoned up, pretty much ready for tar. The tar company's scheduled for the second week of October, and as long as we don't have a lot of rainy days, that will probably stay on schedule. We've got stuff paved in. I think I said that last time, that we have the stuff paved in over the culverts that were replaced this summer. And, yeah,
Getting ready for plow season.
well, I haven't,
That's not far.
I-
Jeez.
That's a naughty word.
It is a naughty word, I don't like it any better.
I
than
have
yours.
been tinkering on some
Yeah.
stuff, actually. Yeah.
That's coming quick.
The salt will be ordered this week, coming up, to get that in. Roadside mowing still has to be done. That, we probably will start that the second week of October. Getting that into place and get some brush cut. And then we'll be getting our roads ready for bed for the winter. And, yeah.
All right. And do you have any particular, like, major, large projects still to go that you want to get to this year before it?
No, I'm not gonna start anything major this late. I got some ditching and stuff that I'll do, but right now I'm gonna concentrate on that project at Pillsbury Lake this week, couple of days, 3 days or whatever, is to get that up and ready, and then we'll have some cleanup and some loaming and some stuff after they tar. And then there's the little section out back of New Hampshire Drive where we raised the road up there that needs to be paved in when they come to town. When they're here, that will be all paved back in. And then, yeah, there's plenty to do without starting a major project between now and winter,
Perfect.
because who knows when it's gonna snow.
Any other questions from the board?
I just wonder, brush cutting, why do we do that in the fall, like late fall when everything is dying and gonna fall down anyway? Is that?
Because you do it after the seed, if you do it before it's seeded out, you spread that stuff everywhere.
Oh, okay, okay.
And, the grass is dying down beside the road, so you can see the
Yeah,
rocks a little
right.
bit better. And, Warner and Bosquen, they have, I mean, you go where it's mowed, it's like I drove up 89 yesterday and nothing's mowed, it looks horrible.
Well, yeah, I did
And
notice that
when stuff,
too.
like you drive over to Warner and other towns, when it's mowed, you know, you try to mow every year and then get the over the rail mower that you get back a little bit further to get that because the mirrors on the big vehicles and the trucks and the
Yeah,
vans and
that's
stuff,
true.
it really gets brushed in. And you hate to do it because you always, people don't like it, but you have to do it. And,
No, I just was wondering, because
Yeah.
it's all dying down
Yeah.
basically now, so.
And I noticed the state did some.
Yeah, they
mowing
came
on-
over, they
on
came
Battle
over
Street,
last,
so.
what's today, Monday? Yeah, they came over one day, was it Friday, I think they came to town.
They were on Friday.
Was it Friday? And you know how, it just looks nice. You
Oh,
clean
yeah, it looks
stuff
nice.
up and, it costs a lot of money, but you take that dead grass beside the road and you come along with a snowplow, that grass just holds it there. You'd
Okay,
think that
yeah,
it
like-
was, but if that grass, it just works so much better to get things to the ditch.
Especially
Okay,
if it
just,
freezes
just
in it.
curious.
Yeah.
Envision.
Yeah,
That's
oh,
something.
especially, I mean, the
Yeah.
other night, the other morning, 3 o'clock, I was going to a fire call down through there, and all of a sudden, the tall grass, you know, all of a sudden, this little spike horn deer's out there dancing on his back feet, didn't know which way to go, but, you know, if that was all mowed nice, you'd had another 20 feet to see it come over the stone wall, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Well, that's
for the
good.
animals.
Good idea. No, I just curious.
Yeah,
Probably a lot of people are too.
yeah, and it does, it neatens things up, it just,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
all right. Any other questions or?
Nope. I'm
All
done.
right, so that brings us to our old business, which we'll start with the water test results for Town Hall.
We, as you know, we sent a sample down to the state lab of the town's water from the well here at the town office, Town Hall. We thought it was probably time that we had it done, especially since, well, at one point we thought that we were gonna have some more activity downstairs, but who knows with the COVID. But at any rate, the results came back, and I won't read them all to you. They are available. But they're all within acceptable ranges. So there was no parts of it that were alarming at all, which I was glad to see. And I suppose we could probably put this on the web, you know, so that people could read it, so they don't have to listen to me go down mineral by mineral.
Yeah. And of particular note, because of nearby structures that have had some issues with water, looking through the results, we do not have problems with, for example, salt content here.
Work.
All right, any further question? All right.
Well, just good news.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, right.
So it's
that
good
moves
when our
us on
water's
to
good.
what I believe is other additional great news in old business. Town properties, 9 Pennacook Circle.
When we put that down, we were going to be talking about the bid for the fire damage. However, I'm happy to say that the former owner has redeemed that property and has told me not to do anything further with it. So I have for you, I need a deed signed. We have been paid the money. As soon as I sign that deed, I'm gonna give it to you.
Well, I can't notarize it right now, so let's wait till the signing. Notary goes downstairs.
Oh, okay, all right.
Then I'll just grab it at the end of the meeting.
Yeah, Russ will need to notarize that, so why don't we wait till the end?
Do we need to make a motion to do that, or no?
No, not really, because you're obligated to sell it.
All right.
And I was happy to take the money, to tell you the truth.
So what are we talking, money?
We got a little over $23,000 for
Wow.
back taxes and
Okay.
expenses and things that were.
But that only pays for what we should have gotten paid for and spent on it already to
Yeah,
fix
no,
it,
right,
so-
we're not making money, but at least we're not
Yes.
losing
And
money.
remember, we don't make the money, the landowner makes the
Right,
money.
right.
Correct?
Well, he's buying it back. for
Well,
all the
right, but what
expenses,
I
so-
meant by that is, we wouldn't, it's not like we would make money anyways, whoever.
Those are
This is
just the
true.
Right,
expenses.
everything,
really,
all the
that we-
expenses are covered, he's paid his taxes, and.
And now
That's
he can
good.
carry on with his
That's right,
property.
that's right,
Mhm.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
that-
so,
9.
Nine Penn
okay,
Circle.
so that's going, excuse me, I
Yeah.
wasn't paying attention, but I just caught it at the very end, but that's gonna go back to the previous owner?
It is. It is. And I know they've been staging in the driveway down there. Do you know how close they are to finishing that? I don't think that's an issue, but I did
Well,
tell them.
they're not in his driveway, they're on town property, they're at the end of the cul-de-sac, and then if they are backing in his driveway, I can just, ask them just to,
Yeah, I wasn't worried about it, but I just wanted to,
Yeah.
if they were on his, I just wanted you to be aware of that.
so that's all back, that's nothing to do with us anymore?
Correct.
Once
Okay,
this
no,
is
just-
signed, yes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, no, I just,
Good news.
good news,
Yeah,
real
right.
good news.
yeah. I'm very happy for that.
All right. That moves us on to our next old business, Guideboard Hill Road.
You remember, resident of Guideboard Hill Road came in, Mr. Potter, to talk to you about his concerns on Guideboard Hill Road, which is a Class 6 road. And it's also the access for the recreation area on one side of the Blackwater River that belongs to the government.
That's right across from,
It comes
Winnebago
off
Road,
of,
right?
it comes off of.
I mean, Lake Road, I meant to say.
It comes off of
No.
Little Hill Road. If you
Just
go
above.
off of
Oh,
White
the
Plains.
other side, so,
and-
I mean, not that you couldn't get there from where I'm talking from, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You go around the corner, it's right there to your right.
Aaron Gaze,
Yep,
am I saying his name right?
yep, yep, you sure are.
The road goes like this,
Yep.
it's the dirt road to the right that goes back down to the gate.
Gotcha, okay.
There are a few properties down there, and they've been there a while, so I don't know how they got there in a Class 6, but maybe that was before it was a Class 6, I don't know. And Mr. Potter has been willing to, obviously it's to his benefit to keep it up, but the additional traffic makes it a bit of a problem. And the town is unable to help them as far as maintenance because it's a Class 6 road, and it's illegal for us to do that. We had a meeting with the representative from the government last week. Mr. Potter and I met with the representative. She made the point that the government, they are not allowed to spend any money on property that does not belong to the government. Mr. Potter, which it doesn't down until past
No, I
his
know, I was
house.
just thinking about what you're saying.
But there is another access that he asked them if they would look into, and that is at the end of Bridge House Road. Going.
Which is across from
Yeah,
Lake,
going down
okay,
there.
yeah, that's what I was
And
wondering.
I guess that the road, the Class 5 road ends at a certain point, and then it's government land. So she said she would look into that, and Mr. Potter is happy that we're trying to help him best we can.
But more or less, where he is, when he goes, and then he gets all this public, yet they want him to maintain it, and they don't.
He's been maintaining
yeah.
it.
Well, because he
and-
has to
and-
get to his house.
And his point, you know,
Yeah.
is that he's not the only one using it. I mean,
Right,
there's a
right.
lot of
No, I
people
get it.
that are going down in there.
All right.
So that's the update on Guideboard Hill.
And is there anything further for us to do, or is it just the government considers it and then continues talking with Mr. Potter?
Well, I think that we are going to still be involved. And right now, we're at the very beginning of having the government see if they can do anything about changing the access. And we may be required to do something else, and I don't mean from a monetary standpoint, but maybe we need to, I mean, I'm glad to do whatever I can to help them.
Yeah, if we need to do some sort of public hearing, for example, about,
Right.
public opinion of which road works better, et cetera.
Mhm. Well, if that were the case, I'm sure we could do that.
Okay.
Well, if the government isn't gonna do anything to help the existing road on Guideboard Hill Road, they're not gonna put any money into where it stops on a class 5, and that's quite a ways further in.
Yeah.
If they're not gonna spend any money on a road that's already there and being traveled, I can't imagine them gonna spend any money to.
Well, I
mean,
understand what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you. However, she was very positive with the fact that they don't own the property that we were asking them to help with, but they do on the other side.
Yeah, I would think the government would have to have some kind of access to that land. I mean, let people, if they own the land, but if they don't own the land, I could see that, but.
Yeah. It's a funny situation, yeah.
And whenever there's timber sales, it's part of the timber sale, and they have you upgrade the road most of the time,
Although
so.
frankly, I would be surprised to see that, but, but I shouldn't say that. I take it back.
All right. Anything else on that, or?
No.
All right.
No.
That moves us to the next old business, which is the unsealing of meeting minutes. So, as the board is well aware, and to catch the public up, we had a work session where we went through several years of sealed minutes, and we've done this before. We did it again, this time for the remainder of 2017 through, we caught ourselves all the way back up to current.
To present, yeah.
So 2017 through present, and we are unsealing minutes that no longer need to remain sealed. So making everything easier and more transparent. So I would like to make a motion to unseal the following non-public sealed minutes. With my trusty sidekick here. December 18th, 2017. These don't have the specific sessions listed.
If there's no session listed, there's only one of that date.
Okay,
And
perfect.
if there is, I have put it, I've so
Now,
noted.
do you have
All
to read all of them down through?
Yeah. So that's going to be December 18th, the sealed non-public minutes on December 18th, 2017, January 2nd, 2018, February 1st, 2018, February 5th, 2018, March 12th, 2018, March 26th, 2018, April 23rd, 2018, June 4th, 2018, June 18th, 2018, July 2nd, 2018, sessions 1 and 7, August 27th, 2018, session 2, September 24th, 2018, session 1, October 8th, 2018, January 28th, 2019, February 11th, 2019, March 18th, 2019, March 21, 2019 is listed twice.
I probably
So
typed it twice.
let's make sure that we've got the correct sessions there. But April 8th, 2019, May 6th, 2019, sessions 1 and 2, May 20th, 2019, sessions 1 and 2, July 15th, 2019, July 29th, 2019, August 12th, 2019, session 3, October 2nd, 2019, October 7th, 2019, January 27th, 2020, sessions 1 and 2, March 2nd, 2020, June 30th, 2020, and June 21st, 2021. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm tired yet?
Thank you. You are no longer needed. There's no more seats.
That's it. Oh, jeez. My God.
All right.
So all them secrets are out in the open?
Yeah,
Wow.
look out,
All right,
Yeah.
that moves us right along to our last of the old business, which is the update for the water rights.
Yeah, this has to do with the water rights from the Concord ordinances that in 1871, the water rights from Boscawen and Webster were given to Concord by a legislative order. I have spoken with the attorney about that. We're still waiting for some more documentation on it. There is another statute on the books that any town is subject to the same issue. So it's not really only Webster, but a town could go to any town and designate an area that they want to develop as a water source, and if the person did not want to sell to them, they would go through the eminent domain process, and would have to sell. But we have some knowledge that Boscawen did something to change it off the Concord ordinance, and so that is our next goal, to see what it is we have to do to complete that. We can't change the state law, but as far as really having, giving up the water rights, it's not in that vein, because they would have to buy whatever property it was that the water was on. And supposedly it's at fair market value. And it's a long process. When I was a kid, part of our land was taken for a water source for another town. And,
Oh, really?
it was.
Did you have to daub the pen in ink?
You know, I was just a kid, I didn't care, but my parents had a lot of angst about it.
Right.
Anyway.
Yes.
Before you adjourn, I mean, is there, I would like to mention something to the select board?
Sure. We have public comment later, but
Oh.
go ahead, sure.
Okay. I don't even know if this should be brought to the attention of the select board or not. This is an idea of mine, but I want to move on the side of caution. And that is, I am going to attempt to get both the Democratic and the Republican Party together and offer signs that we could put out that says Webster is neighborly. So that we would be working on, we have more in common than we do in difference due to the current political climate, and that it would be more signaling to other people that we are neighborly, and we are neighborly. And, you know, just like a uniform thing, but I haven't proceeded with this yet because I wasn't real certain if this would, you know, if people would come to you and say, what the hell are these signs? You know, that we see in people's yards or whatever. You know, it's not an election year or anything, so it's kind of a good time to
I would be.
kind of show unity within the town of Webster.
I completely appreciate the concept of trying to show support of what people want to do to come together instead of to divide themselves. I would be surprised if, even if you said, you know, you were going to pay for everybody's everything and, you know, it was all free, someone would still complain. So
About the signs, you mean?
Anything. I'm saying that no matter what anyone does, someone's going to complain. So I would not suggest that you be concerned with if somebody would complain to us.
Oh.
As for being able to do what you're wanting to do, assuming you get people from both sides together to do that, do we have any sign ordinances other than commercial signs?
Not really.
Okay, I
Should
didn't
be
think
like
so,
yard signs,
but
you
yeah,
know.
standard yard type
Yeah,
signs.
You know, it's saying we're neighborly, and
Mhm.
then people driving by would think maybe that, you know, nice people live there.
Yeah.
It's just a very feeble, small attempt to get the residents to come together.
Yeah, I would encourage you, that's a great thing as far as civic involvement and trying to get more people to discuss things with each other instead of just assume. So I think that's a great idea. And
I'm patterning this after the New Hampshire town in Newton, who's down by the border, who has done this. And they have found that they have had, when they have civic things go on, they've had more people attend. that they've had people who had shown more interest, you know. So I thought that's a wonderful idea. I thought that perhaps we could,
Mhm.
you know, if there is a town that's done it, who's had positive results. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I can't say that the town would be involved as the
Oh,
town
no, the town
offices in
wouldn't be
something like
involved
that,
at
but,
all. I just
but
don't
yeah.
wanna go ahead and start to do something, and then everybody says, what the hell are you doing? You know what I mean?
I'm sure people will say that,
Oh,
but I
yeah,
don't
they
see any
will, but
problem
you can be then
from the
aware
town's
of the
perspective
fact
of it.
If, you know, or if it even could be done.
Any other
Is there any
comments from?
discussion?
I think the big thing is with signs, you just gotta be, you know, as you probably already know, you have to ask for permission to put it on
Oh,
anybody's
yes,
property
definitely.
or,
Oh,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
anywhere,
You know,
so.
I mean,
I mean, there again, freedom of speech, if the people wanna put a sign out front of their house that says whatever they want to say, I mean, it's
And
more.
some people do.
Yeah, that's right, absolutely, but that's both ways. And so it would, you know, hey, if somebody wants to say I'm unified to work or listen,
That's
but we don't
pretty
really
cool.
have a say anyways,
Right.
but I just want to make sure you realize that it was just, you know, permission, only if it's a private property, of course. But you probably knew that, yeah.
Yeah, and it may not even happen. Neither party may agree to do it. You know, I mean, it's quite possible, but I didn't want to proceed any further unless I had, it's just covering my ass, so to speak.
Mhm.
You know, to be blunt.
All right. So that would end our old business, and we had a public comment. Do you all feel we can just move the public comment forward before new business and then finish off with it?
Yeah, sure.
All right, any further public comment before we move into our new business and budgets? All right. So thank you, and now we'll move on
Thank
to
you.
new business, the first of which is the wonderful 2022 police budget.
So, are you folks good with me?
Sure, we're with you.
Utilities.
That is a loaded question.
I was gonna say the same thing. No.
Is there anything
I
in
know.
correspondence that we
I'm
need
just
Emmett
kidding.
for?
Bear with me 1 second. We always need you, Emma, but no, I have nothing. Correspondence.
All right, so thank you for your time.
Okay,
Save
no,
yourself
I'll just,
more
I
time.
still have things to, I got some mooing cows that
Stop the
golf
rain
don't
for a
wanna
little
chase around
while.
the neighborhood.
Right. Thanks,
Stop the
Emmett.
rain for a little while, will you?
What's that? dear?
Stop the rain for a little while. Bring some more sun back.
Yeah, well, thank you for all you do, and,
Thank you, Emmett.
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, chief.
You got it, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
The chief had sent over his budget this afternoon. I don't know if you saw it, but I just printed it out for
I was
you.
gonna say, I printed them
Oh,
out
okay,
for
that makes
everybody,
two of us,
just in
so
case.
Well.
if I hadn't, either one of us would have.
And then we would have said like, what, where?
Did you want to go through this, or did you just want comments, or how did
I'd
you?
say, I don't know if you wanna go through every single line. I mean, it's probably gonna take a couple of days for you guys to view it and look through it and give comments, unless you can scan it and do comments now. I'll take questions or whatever, either way.
So, since we're pretty used to seeing budgets as a board for the most part, and I know that Marlo's plenty familiar with budgets, even if not necessarily the way that we see them
Right.
beforehand here. Why don't you go through and just highlight the changes that we have, and then what you're expecting as
you wanna-
or I should say the increases and what you're expecting the total to be, and that percentage
Do
afterwards.
you want me to go through the biggest increases?
Sure.
The largest increase actually is police contract services. So if you look at that sheet that I think we should need to break it down a little better, because if you look, the county attorneys and dispatch, so it should be a sheet that explains, it's the second line down, contract services. County attorneys went from $1,359 to $1,563, but the biggest increase was Merrimack County Dispatch. Went from 11,427 to 15,034. They've never gone that high. And I believe part of that is we have a new system down there, and they're doing it equally now. So what they do is take every town that's on their dispatch system, there's 11, and they split it between the 11. But if you look at what the county budget is, the sheriff's department picks up about 70% of it, and we only pay the rest. So they pick up a huge tab of it. But for $15,000 for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week coverage, we can't even come close to anybody matching that. I don't know any place we could go. There is really no place other than Franklin offers it, but theirs is $27,000. I called them today. Theirs is $27,000 for 24/7 coverage. Bo had a dispatch center that we could have used, but they couldn't afford it. They said it was too expensive, so they quit, and now they're with Merrimack County. Most of them go to county dispatch now. New London has one, doesn't work for us, we can't reach them. So we'd have to buy different antenna equipment to try and reach them, but they're even higher than Franklin. They were $29,500. So I think for the $15,034.80, we're really getting a bargain for as many hours coverage as we get 24/7. When anybody calls, they have two dispatchers 24/7 answering the phone. So I think that's kind of cheap. Underneath that, you'll see a new one that had to add legal blood draws. Now, because most of the DWI cases we get are involving drugs instead of alcohol, we'll have them do a breathalyzer test, and if it comes out as 0-0, so there's no alcohol, we tell them they gotta take a blood test, and by law, they have to. So, we always used Franklin. Franklin charges $25. Concord Hospital charges us $300. Well, guess who bought Franklin Hospital? Concord Hospital purchased. So we're not sure if we're gonna get the same deal at $25 a hit, or they're gonna make us go to $300. We've appealed to them, and our last blood draw was $100, so I feel pretty good at that. If we get charged $100, we get charged $100. What we're gonna do is from now on, I talked to the county attorney, and we can try and do it, recoup the money from whoever we arrest. So we'll end up footing it up front to the hospital, but we'll recoup it from them when they get found guilty. But they could get found guilty today. We may not see our $100 for a year at $5 a month or $10 a month, whatever it is. But it's still a bill that we're going to have to eat, at least for a time being. And we do 2 to 3 DWIs a month.
So is
and
the
almost all of them
500
drugs.
enough?
I'm sorry?
Is the 500 enough?
I would start with the 500. See where it goes, because some of them, their insurance will pay for it, and we try to get their insurance to pay for it if it's a conviction. And we tell them that's the deal, your insurance has got to pick up the tab. But if they're indigent, they don't have any money, that's where they come looking to us for it, because we're the ones that actually authorized to have it drawn. That's the biggest increase that we have.
And then, of course, the normal increases in salaries and wages.
Salaries and wages, and we're still, my budget's, as quoted here, is 1% below last year, which I try to keep it at 3% above, but we're down. So if I can squeak it through at 1% below, I'll be a happy camp.
So obviously, we will, as a board, talk about all of this and then get back to you. A couple questions for you. In last year, when we were talking about budget, ammo was becoming super expensive, and we pre-bought some for this year, and we've
You
overspent
said
that.
ammo.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
Ammunition.
Okay, yeah, but when you first said it, I'm like, what?
And
It's about halfway down the page.
yeah, and we have definitely used up that line item this year as well. yet I don't see an increase here for next year.
I didn't increase it because I wanted to hold the budget down. It would be great to increase it. We used to buy 1,000 rounds of ammunition for under $200, and now it's going between $500 and $600 a thousand. And by state law, we have to qualify twice a year. So that chews that up usually at once. And thank God we've got a reserve, so we've been kind of dipping into that to get our qualifications done. But if we have a new person that has to go to the academy, there's 2,000 rounds right there, so there's.
Because they have to bring their own ammo with them.
We have to bring, we
In a
have to
sense,
supply it.
yeah, the town.
And the sad part about that is because they shoot indoors at the academy, it has to be frangible ammunition, which is 3 times as expensive as regular ammunition. So it can't have any toxins in it, no lead primers, no lead bullets, no lead in the powder, so it's a lot more expensive for that. And I bought a case of that the first year I was here, and we haven't used it yet, so I'm kind of like hoarding that. So if we get somebody that goes to the academy, we'll have it already. But if we could.
So I guess the question is, I applaud and want to keep the budget down as much as I can, but is that realistic to not increase it?
Could I get through another year? Probably. But it's gonna leave us with no reserves. And the hard part is, to get ammunition, if I order it today, it could be 8 months to a year before I get it. That's the hard part. And I try to order it now and prepay for it so that the price isn't gonna go up. And I don't really foresee it going down in the near future. There's not many things that do go down. If I could add, I mean, I'd hate to have to do it, but I'd have to add at least $500 to that line.
Okay. Looking at expenditures and your budgeting, you seem to have been really good as far, or I should say really good as predictive for uniforms and the like. Knowing that we have had some officer turnover and possible new part-timers coming, I know we try to get them to use their existing gear as much as possible from their other full-time jobs, but is that still expected to stay kind of the way it is?
The reason it's like this now is the officer, in this line item, the officers are allowed 1 pair of boots a year. And the boots are anywhere between $100 and $150 a pair. Nobody's picked up any uniforms or boots this year. So that'll change over the next month as winter's here.
Mm-hmm.
We bought all new jackets from last year through the Gopher money, which was great. And we'll be looking at any uniforms that they may need. I don't believe we have any vests coming up until 2022. I don't think we don't have any vest purchases that we need until 2022 because those are $1,500 a piece. And I think we have 2 coming in 2022.
Okay. Let's see. We covered contract services. What is driving the amount of the full-time wages versus being 6% instead of the usual 3%? Is that the expected raise that we had previously talked about last year as well?
That's
Okay.
exactly what that is.
And just a reminder there, according to our town policies, we need copies of employee evaluations before any raises can be given. So just remember that even if it's in the budget, that doesn't automatically mean that they get more until we've got that. And by our auditors, we have to actually sign off on it and put all the documentation aside now too.
I have one that we're going to discuss tonight afterwards.
Sounds
And
good.
I have it with me.
All right. Moving on through the budget sections and make sure that that's all in. Yes, okay. For the cruiser fund, You had initially expected that we could lower this after the accident because we'd have newer vehicles,
Yes.
but this is now raised by roughly the amount used for the vehicle this time. Does that still need to be increased, or should it stay the same, or can it be reduced to what it previously had been as we had anticipated
It
last
really
year?
needs to stay the same because the money that we had set aside, we used to pay off the extra for the new cruiser that we got when we totaled one,
Mhm.
because the insurance didn't cover all of it.
Correct.
So we are slated for a new car next year. We have one car that's got 120,000 miles on it, and that's just driving time, that's not including idling time. You can almost add another 100,000 miles on for idling time, and that's been nickel diamond, so we've had a number of issues with it, but it's still running good for the moment. I'm looking at, if we get a new car next year, I'm gonna skip a year on a car, so we'll go a year without buying one, because we'll have two 21s and a 22, so we can skip a year with the car, so that's gonna save us probably
So it's for this
$40,000-$50,000.
coming year that we need to make sure it's still fully funded, and then we can probably drop
definitely need
it.
to replace that one next year, this
Okay.
coming year in 2022.
All right,
And then we can skip 2023, and if things look good, we may skip 2024. It'd be good to put some money aside so that we won't have to worry about that, split it in half and
Mhm.
only put half of the amount in there, which would reduce quite a bit of it out of my budget.
that would be really nice. And then for the other CRF and ETFs, help explain to me here what typically comes out of the police equipment CRF, and why are you wanting to increase that versus the police equipment budget line item? And then the same question for the vehicle maintenance ETF.
So, let me get this one here.
Where are you talking?
Hmm?
Where are you talking?
Oh, so that is,
On page 2, the capital reserve.
so you see
So
the,
that police equipment,
Oh, okay.
that is going towards replacing the base radio, the antenna system. That's for the main part of it. That base radio is, I think, $59,000 or $6,000. It's right around there, right around the $6,000 mark, and that's without the antenna. And then that's for any other breakdowns that we have, so we have a balance in case we do lose something. Should we have lost something in our cruiser or have it burn, we'd have the extra money in that account to replace any equipment.
Chief, is that going to be asked for in the CIP request? Because
Yeah.
that's kind of where the...
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
and so how is that different from the equipment line item in the budget, which has, been 1,000 for quite a while and always
That-
is about on budget, but.
Yep, and that's for other equipment, so taser cartridges, medical supplies,
Okay,
things like that.
so it's normal equipment and then the larger equipment.
Larger-
is from the
large
fire.
items.
That makes sense, okay. And what is that breakdown for the, how do you look at that for the vehicle maintenance one as well? Because I thought the vehicle maintenance was just an overage when needed.
The vehicle maintenance is an overage for if it's needed, being we lose a transmission or something like that. We're gonna be lucky for the next 2 years, because our cars should be covered. So we have 3 years, 36,000 mile coverage on them. They'll cover everything, and it should be a 5-year, 50,000 miles on the motor and transmission, so we should be good. 50,000 will be an average of 2.5 years of using the car. We'll have pretty close to 50,000 miles on it. And that's in case we do, if we lose a transmission or an engine. Transmission's about 5,000 and the engine's about 11,000. Sometimes it's not worth replacing it depending on how old the car is.
So what is the draw for putting more into the police vehicle maintenance ETF at this point then?
We had that in there for, that was for the trustee of the trust funds, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That, I thought that was also in case we lost a car, because had we not had the insurance to cover the car, the other person's insurance cover our car, we would have had to eat a lot of that.
Yeah, so we kind of used, I believe we tried to use that and the
But we had
purchase.
already set aside.
But we had limitations in what we could do as far as using them for that purpose.
Right.
So,
And we didn't put any in the 21 budget,
correct.
or the 19. That's why we asked for it, because we only had 2,000 and change in there, 2,500, 259. That's why we had requested the 5,000, and the CIP talked about that also. So we
Okay.
have the extra in there.
Mhm. And then the last bit is, of course, where was it? There we go. The small page. The price of stuff goes up, so must the propane costs for the
Oh,
the
yeah,
safety
propane
building.
went up.
So, yep.
Do you ever lock in on that?
Yes, we do.
We usually lock in.
Huckleberry.
Huckleberry.
Yeah, Huckleberry takes care of pretty much everything for the town.
Gee, this isn't in your budget, but in the CIP for the safety building, we've been talking a long time about the pad and then about an exhaust system for the fire department.
Yes, and Emmett and I talked about seeing if we could get that fund money that we just got to cover
The
the
ARPA money,
exhaust.
yeah.
If that would cover the exhaust, that would be fantastic. And
Okay.
he just got new prices on the exhaust system. I think he submitted to you. If he didn't, he has it at his office.
We have talked about it, and that's why it's fresh in my mind, but I can't remember where the pad was. Is that in the, going in the CIP?
I think it's in the CIP budget. It should be.
Okay, all right.
And
Thanks.
of course, we had talked, nobody knew the prices. That was the hard part, because the
Right.
prices were all over the place on how much it was gonna cost. And whether we needed engineering or not, I mean, that was a huge expense
Right.
just for engineering alone.
We're fortunate that the municipal association has a consultant that we're able to use that will help us with the ARPA paperwork, which I think will really be a big benefit so that we will stay out of trouble.
When do we have to spend all that money by? Isn't there a certain time?
We have plenty of time. It's
We
like
do,
6
okay,
years,
I
yeah,
just, yeah, okay.
So there's $100,000?
We got 100, we got half of it so far, so we have 102,000. That is in a separate account,
And then another 102 coming?
and then we expect another 102, I guess.
So there's a chance we may get both out of it? depending on
The
cost.
total will be like 200,000, yeah,
We may get both of them done out of that, I hope.
you know.
Well, so the concrete pad, why does that have to be engineered?
That's beyond me.
Oh,
That's beyond me. I didn't know it had to be engineered, but
ooh,
the last board thought that it had to be engineered because Emmett had given us a price on tearing it out, and then
Yeah.
they said it
it's a
needed.
concrete pad. You just want to make sure you get some rebar in it?
Well, it's not gonna be replaced with a concrete pad. They're gonna
Okay.
replace it with asphalt, but they don't know what's underneath it. That's the problem.
You're not gonna know until you get there. No engineer's gonna tell you that.
You hit it right on the head. That's-
Unless they got like little those glasses that see right through everything.
If you remember in the discussion for engineering for the access road to
Yeah.
the salt shed property,
Yes, yeah.
that was one of the things that was included in there for possible engineering and had been negated out before we then had the discussion for the remaining engineering.
How come they're gonna put tar and not concrete?
The concrete is mainly for being able to support, for example, if they needed to do maintenance on a fire engine or something of that nature and have the solid concrete instead of pavement to be able to jack it up. And A, they have concrete inside if they really need it, and B, they don't do that work generally, they bring it to the
Right.
garage,
Mhm.
so.
So by having,
decided
if
they
they,
didn't need it
if they
anymore.
replaced it with concrete, the reason the concrete's in such bad repair now is salt
Mhm.
Right?
and things like that. It is just eating it up, and if you get out and take a look at it, some of them.
Well, I saw the
Yeah,
potholes.
I mean, there is some
Yeah,
huge,
all you need is one person spraying in the right
we've already
color.
had it happen
Yeah.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So, and we've filled it in with stone dust and watered it, so it actually held really good for a long time, but that's just a temporary fix and it's not gonna last long.
So how does that, so what happens next with that then?
What happens next with
With
what?
with replacing that?
Oh, the pad?
Yeah.
It's one of the things that we have on our overall project list, but not, of course, for town hall. We've discussed it a few times. There have been some issues as far as the no means no stuff, because it had been on a warrant article in the past because
Oh,
of
and
previous administration wanting to do it with engineering and an outside firm via bids. And that got voted down. So at this point in time, we're kind of looking at what the options will be.
Well,
And
different funding that may not need a town warrant, or does it still need a town warrant?
potentially it does not, but it depends on how things go, and so we'll be looking at stuff like that further into our budgeting process.
Just don't want somebody to owe more than what it'll cost to put the pad in.
Yep.
I have a sprained ankle employee that just was a pothole that was, because we're not on a concrete pad.
Mhm.
And it can get very, very costly.
Oh, yes.
Fast,
Oh, yes.
like wicked fast.
All right. Anybody else have any other questions for the police budget at this point?
I would say, review it, email any questions, and I'll shoot it to all, if you put me on the party line, I'll shoot it to all three members. That way everybody gets to chime in on it.
Yeah, we can't really do that as far as the
You can
right
have
to
Dana
know,
do
but
it.
we can have Dana do it, and then he can send in any questions that
Okay.
any of us ask back to everybody.
I'm gonna really work hard this year to make sure everyone stays in communication, so that the board, if they change something, that you would know about it. And
Good idea.
weigh in, and, last year, I think that got away from us a little bit because of time.
It was a busy
but-
year last year.
But, but we cannot, there's always room for improvement, ever so slowly.
Every day.
Yeah, all right.
Does the insurance ever give us a hard time about it being so potholy and trip hazardy?
Not as of yet.
No, and I'm surprised
Well, I
that
know.
we've had three
But it's
I
a
people.
real
know, I'm
possibility.
sorry to
Yeah.
even bring that up, but I can see, I know that they can,
Yeah.
Fortunately, they've done a pretty good job of maintaining it despite its deficiencies at this point.
Mhm.
So we haven't had a problem with that.
Yeah, we try to keep on tap to fill the holes as much as we can.
Mhm.
Emmett's been good at filling with stone dust, which is the only thing that really stays. We tried hard pack and it just didn't
Right.
last.
Well,
Stone dust and then
we'll come back.
wet
in.
it and compact it, and it lasted really good.
All right. So that is, apologies. I don't want to do that. All right, well, I'll use this one then. That brings us on to our next new business, which is the 2021 utility assessment.
I had sent you the 2021 utility assessments, and unfortunately, they've gone down by over $2 million.
How do you get away with that?
Some of it has to do with the new House Bill 700, and some of it has to do with our equalization value. So I did speak with our utility assessor, basically saying, what? And that's the answer they told me. I can ask him, he would be willing to come in and talk to you about it like he did last year. But right now, as far as this year's tax rate, I don't think we can do anything to change those. One thing we did decide when you hired the utility assessor, and he's very good at his job. And there are only so many people that do this type of work, and he's very knowledgeable. But We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 entities that are utilities. Unitil Public Service, which is Eversource, New England Power, New England Hydro Transmission, those are the high-tension wires, Kearsarge Telephone Company, which is now TDS, and Merrimack County Telephone, which is now TDS. So the total loss in value is $2,142,500, which, very roughly using it as a loss in dollars of about $13,000. And of course, we're talking about a moving target, so that is only just kind of try to give you a little idea. So we've steadily gone downhill since the 2019 assessment. We're down almost $200,000 from 19 on a few of them, and more on others, so.
It's amazing how that can go down, and our little utilities don't seem to go down at all. I mean, really, you know,
And our
that's the
properties
idea.
prices go up.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you don't have a phone, because
That's
we're
probably
trying to save you
right.
money.
My phone's been out. It's just like, what the heck is going on? So my house phone, and of course my cell phone doesn't work at my house because I have a clip on for me, so it's been fun.
I bet.
So,
I mean,
So
the
don't call
answer
if I
they
need a
gave me-
ride?
no, don't call.
If you leave a message, she might come a week from now.
I know, it's.
That's what I tell my
actually-
family members when they don't answer. You don't know that I'm not broke down somewhere.
But it's just frustrating, you
Oh,
know?
I bet thee. Oh, my lord.
So,
And one thing I will say, that at least I think by having the utility appraiser, it keeps you out of the situation with the power company suing you over taxes all the time,
Yep.
because that runs into a lot of money between legal
Well,
and
'cause
everything.
you kind of have that the guy in between that,
Yeah, we
not
had
less
that in
saying
the
it's,
settlement.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go in front of a judge, at least they can't,
He,
Yeah.
I mean, he is very, he's not gonna give a value that he cannot defend.
right?
Yeah, and-
But do they
and
do
part
a
of
lot
our-
of that?
Part
Suing
of our
towns?
contract is
yeah.
that he will defend us.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Things you learn that I didn't even know existed.
we've
Yeah.
had, I mean, the town has had a couple cases going on with public service and Unitil in the last few years. I guess we're done with it now, but,
but it is amazing how their value can go down, and there's nothing else that's gone down. Nothing. And how do they get away with it? That's what I don't think much about the Public Utilities Commission, number one.
A lot of it is depreciation values and tables.
Basically, it's just paperwork, right?
Yeah.
It's not,
Yeah.
right, exactly.
But land doesn't depreciate.
Yeah.
But what they
That's
have
what
on
my
their
house tells me.
but their lines and their towers and,
Oh, that
so that's
depreciate.
also part of this, and
Yeah.
so
So when they just put all those new lines
Yeah.
up, then that should be
in theory,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they
And
fly
new
around with the
poles and- But
helicopters.
all of the old poles, lose value and so
Gotcha.
on. There is more to it than just that, and it can actually, in theory, it can fluctuate in both directions based
Yeah,
on
right.
the state stuff, but in any
That's
case.
interesting.
so that's not great news, but
Could be worse, I guess.
I guess that's what it is.
All right, that moves us on to refuse disposal ordinance.
Yes, there is a committee. One Webster resident is on it, as well as other Hopkinton residents, to update the refuse, I have trouble with that word,
Refuse disposal,
thank you, ordinance.
And refuse means
the dump.
the
Dump,
Yeah.
trash.
In English.
Who came up with that? How about just the
Um,
dump disposal?
So,
ordinance?
I had given you the proposed ordinance. This has got to go before the Webster Select Board and the Hopkinton Select Board. And there'll be a public hearing on it, and Neil from Hopkinton has told me when they're ready to do it, they'll let us know. And, but
So are we holding a public hearing together or singly?
I think you've done it together in
I
the
don't
past.
remember.
Yeah, I think you've done it together.
Oh, as select people?
Yeah.
Not as a town public hearing?
Well,
No.
he said public hearing, so I'd say public hearing is something that you would invite people to come and give their input.
Yeah.
Probably people from both towns.
So-
Yeah,
both
maybe,
boards
because I
on
do
it.
remember meeting with the select board on certain things with Hopkinton.
Yeah,
It must have been the dump. Those
Because
long
you
time.
are going to be meeting with Hopkinton on another note on the budget for the transfer station November 15th. And you're going to meet with them at 6:30, which is the same night as your meeting, but you'll delay your meeting. I've talked to Dave about this, to delay it
That's gonna
30
be here.
minutes or so. And that
Who
will
asked
be,
him?
that will be in Hopkinton.
Oh,
However,
in-
they're also going to have it on Zoom, so you could,
So
We
we'll
can
meet
attend
here
by-
just
And then
like
Zoom
normal,
it. Oh, okay.
but our meeting won't technically
Yeah.
start until after we're done the Zoom with them.
and
Oh,
that's to
okay.
talk about the overall budget of which we're responsible for 25% of that. Which brings me to also, while I'm on this tangent, the CIP, I don't think you've gotten anything from Hopkinton
I did.
on that. Did you? Okay. So
They were the
that,
first to respond.
we have received that. Oh, good.
CIP meeting.
Capital Improvement Program.
Okay, and they're given a list of what they want.
What they want for the
Yeah.
transfer station, what the
Okay.
plans are.
They're looking ahead 6 years so that we can put it in our trust funds. That's usually where we save the money toward those.
All right.
Less
Yeah.
trash? No. Is that the capital improvement?
That's the way it should be.
Yeah,
they'll
well,
pay-
if we can do that, there's less there, so
That's
that's
right.
good, but.
Yeah.
But they may, because we're getting that solar thing in most of our part of the dump and in Webster, they're probably mad over that.
Well, so, not to go too off tangent, but the,
Right.
the solar stuff, there's of course ours with our own pilot
Mm.
agreements. But the pilot agreement that was already signed between Hopkinton, Webster, and Olivewood is in effect for the transfer station. Those revenues that would come in from that on the transfer station, just like the running budget for the transfer station, we will be responsible for that same percentage. So if we're using the 25%, we pay 25% of the cost to run the place, but we also get 25% of the profits from that pilot agreement.
Oh, well, that sounds okay to
So-
me. Yeah,
It will help offset things a little bit over there, but not by a ton.
yeah, okay. All right.
All right, anything further on that?
No.
What is kind of our next step on that then? Just waiting to hear from them for the public hearing?
Yeah.
And who is currently providing input on that? And how is that best added if
The
someone
Webster
wants to say
representative
something?
is Chris Shadler.
Okay. All right, and great.
Although
So-
I call Neil directly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that moves us on to the last of our new business, which is inventory penalties.
So,
It's just,
I
oh,
never
it's
did run
on.
mine.
It was
Hope
from
they can hear
hitting
me,
the
yeah.
table.
the inventory penalties have come out. Remember, we do the property inventory forms. This is the
Yeah.
penalties for those who didn't respond by the April 15th state due date. So now I'm going through and receiving calls and feedback from people who want to get it removed. And I'm just asking the board to reaffirm that I have the authority to tell people, no, we're not appealing this. And of course, if they have a reason or for whatever reason it wasn't checked, I check that, double check when they call and make sure that we do have a copy that said it was received late and let them know. So,
We should note, however, we've never discouraged anyone from coming to talk to the board on
Correct.
their own.
Mhm.
While, but
you-
we're not saying, well, we can't do anything but go talk to the board. We're not saying that. But I just want you to be aware that there may be someone that wants to come talk to you.
So we've done this in previous years, and basically, rather than every single, I don't think I should have to pay this, having to come to the board and get
Absolutely.
discussed,
Yep.
then Russ can handle it and say, I looked it up, it is actually this late, this is the assessed penalty for us.
But if they want to come in front and give their song and dance, in a sense, I say
Yeah.
song and dance, I mean reasoning behind why they may have been late, then they have a right to do that.
Yes.
Right.
If not,
And you may
You know,
get
we're
a
not gonna-
letter
yeah.
from somebody.
Mhm.
Russ had a customer today that wasn't happy.
Okay. So what is the technical position, or what are we trying to make the motion for? What's the best way to phrase it?
I'm not sure whether you really need a motion. I think that Russ
So,
wanted you to just kind of make sure that you were thinking the same thing what he was doing. That he
Okay.
will look it up, he will see if there's some way. We did have one today, I think, that you found that you changed because,
Yeah.
yeah. But normally that wouldn't happen, that was just a fluke. And so 9 times people out of 10, once they get that, they would not say anything more about it. But you can make a motion if you want to just support Russ from following through and giving them an answer. Although I don't know if you really need to.
Okay, well, if we don't need to, then let's just, I'm in favor of letting Russ do it.
I am too.
You know.
It's his
Aye.
job.
But I think he wants you just to know what we're doing.
So how many of those inventories do you have that were late and got
210.
210?
Well, that's what that seems like a lot, but.
210 out of 1,900 properties.
No, that's not too bad, really.
No.
It just sounds a lot though when you
And
say
it's
210.
down from
Yeah.
last year, which was 276 that were late.
Wow.
That must be because of the penalties people caught.
Yep, well,
Yeah.
that's kind of how Therese said it worked, is that you'll have one high year and then it will go down
Yeah,
for a couple of years, then it'll go up
yeah.
again.
Maybe we should do a little bit of a story in my paper before that, remind everybody about.
That'd be a good
Well, that's
idea.
what I tried to do before
Absolutely.
the April 15th due date. I
Yeah.
was putting it on the website that,
Well, you gotta put
same
in my
thing with the
paper.
dog.
Yeah.
Same basic procedure.
Yeah.
I
The
think
due
that's a
date's
great
coming
idea.
up, make
Yeah.
sure the.
Because I'm not
files-
sure people know the importance or the, you know, yeah, it might say it on there, but nobody, like.
Right,
In
and people-
one year,
people
I
also have
totally
to
missed it one time. and it
Remember,
was-
the penalty's capped at $50.
Yeah.
It's 2% or $50, whichever.
Well,
Yeah.
and also at town meeting, everything is usually available at town meeting for them to take it, and it's explained at town meeting as well, like, hey, this is available, make sure you take it if you're here, otherwise, you know, you'll get it in the mail, make sure you get it back to us.
I usually
So-
Also
fill it out
at
at
town
town
election.
meeting, just.
And hand it
give
back.
Well, town
Right,
election
hand
is
it
where,
back.
yeah, I got handed mine, right.
Many
So-
towns don't use the inventory,
Mm.
and so
Yeah.
that, you know, is.
Well, we're
another-
kind of fortunate still to just have it go that
Yeah,
direction.
yeah. But, so I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think
Just
we'll
to
do
get the
a
word
front
out.
page thing, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we could get rid of the inventories by adopting some of the building permits,
Mm-hmm.
and, sorry, the building codes, but
Yep.
that's a different discussion.
Mhm.
Different
Um,
day.
Not that we'd even have to change anything as far as the requirements for building code. We would just have to formally adopt what the state's already adopted and enforces, so. Anyway, that moves us on to correspondence.
The first correspondence item I'd just like you to be aware of is we got the tax bill from Merrimack County for $672,232. That is due by Friday, December 17th.
Oh,
there's
pocket
not-
change.
There's not much we can do about that. Although in the
Just wait
towns
until
in
you get the
Merrimack
schools.
County, we are the next to the bottom. as
That's a
far
good
as
place
what
to be.
we do.
Once in our lives.
Anyway, and that's because of value of property and population, etc. Then I have the MS1, which is the report that goes to the DRA to set the tax rate. It's a rundown of all the property values in town. And we had an extension till October 1st to file it because of the utility. I was waiting for the utilities, so I have filed this, and I need the board to sign it. And if you'd like me to explain it any further, I would be happy to.
To be clear, this is set to send to them to set the tax rate, or is this to send to them saying we have set the tax rate?
They set the tax rate.
Okay.
Yeah,
So this is the whole thing, we don't
That's
just have
it.
a.
Yeah, this is all the valuations.
yeah, that's the.
Okay,
that's
so
the
we
whole
just need
report.
to sign this front page.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Unless you
Normandy
want-
Blake. Who did that?
Did I do that?
You gotta white out that Blake. I'm
Did
not
I
gonna
put too
say.
many Blakes in there?
Yeah, one too many. I may seem like two people, but no, I'm not.
It's because you're a star.
That's terrible. You know, I think I should give myself 4 weeks off with pay, and I hope I learn from that.
I like the way you think about punishment.
Really?
It went up to 4 weeks, it used to be 2.
Oh, okay. Attaboy.
That's
Driving
because
them
this was a
crazy.
really bad.
This is a really bad one.
Yeah. So what else do we have while this gets signed?
All right, and then we have the payroll, which was put out today.
You want me to go get the notary stuff?
I like it, Dave.
Yeah,
I love your
please.
signature. God. Look at this. It's like hand scratch. Like my chickens could do better.
Well, I mean,
Should I give
they
you a
can,
chicken?
I just run my mouth, so they can come squawk here. It'll be
Oh,
fine.
jeez.
We
I
have
like
a
it.
cemetery deed of a lot that we sold.
Holy so.
Used or unused?
At the moment, I don't think it's used, but it's got a great view.
Now,
Davis signed that. I've got, comes from Michelle's office. These are pole license, P-O-L-E license for the utilities. And
wait, I didn't see this was coming. Oh, okay.
So if you want a plot, you buy it from the town.
right,
Less expensive?
yeah, this is, I just bought mine, it was $1,500. I think I'll turn it in and come here.
My yes.
Well, that's, I
I think
think,
my wife is telling me something she's planning on my demise, but
Especially when she only bought one.
she only needs one.
My husband always says, I'll just leave it up to the kids. I'm afraid that
Poles, et cetera, et
I won't
cetera.
make it from where I might have left.
I'm afraid of what my kids might do.
He has a better feeling about them than me. I'm one of those people, hey, what is done is done.
So how come all of these are Unitil?
Probably because they're putting in more than one pole.
Oh, so this is for new poles, it's not a one.
I wonder where they're putting
I
those
knew that.
poles. Did it say? Maybe they're replacing some old ones.
Maybe down in yours.
Yeah, it does. Maybe that's why I don't have.
Maybe, yeah.
Right. Jeez, so funny. Oh, what a nice writing.
It's better when I hand it to Dana and say, hey, look at all of this and get back to me.
Yeah, right, there's, yeah, really.
This is
All
the
different.
accounts payable warrant, which Dave has also signed, which is the checks that are going out tomorrow.
Already signed.
If you had any particular questions, I have the bills in front of me.
Yes, and the largest one of this is we're paying some of the
Yeah,
health
I don't-
trust,
I
health
believe you.
insurance.
Yeah. This is actually a pretty low one compared to the normal. Russ has gone to get his,
I thought he left town. Oh,
his,
Russ left town.
his notary stuff,
Ah,
and
that's right, we have to sign this.
we need you to sign that thing, so wait till Russ comes so we can make sure it's you that's signing it.
Oh, I gotta check us signing them.
I mean, we'll be on video signing it, so I
Yes,
hope it's
really.
us.
Well,
All right.
If not,
Shall we
that'll be one
sign
heck of a
now?
deep
so
fake.
that's,
And sh-
right.
I have to witness.
Oh, my God.
Look at you, you got your pad of paper.
Well, I need everybody's IDs.
We'll have to,
My IDs. I think I did bring my passport. I might find an ID somewhere. You really have to see it?
Well, I'm supposed to write down. Who knows if I
He
remember?
doesn't know who you are.
let me find this guy.
Which one is this for? that we're
9
signing?
Panic,
Oh.
what's that?
Yeah,
The deed?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've got the other part of it. It's 9 Panic.
Okay.
Am I gonna take it out or can you just look at it?
I'll simply point out that the execution date We still need, do you want that filled in for today?
We need to fill that in, yeah.
For today?
I didn't want to put the day until I knew.
Oh, okay. You don't have to-
You will have one for the lot, the other lot that you just sold, but I don't have that.
Oh, there's, oh no, the bottom one is for him, I think, so.
Yeah.
See that good enough? That's good. Okay. And everything-
When should we expect the one that we just finished the public hearings for?
Probably
Next
at your
meeting?
next meeting.
Okay.
So they've already paid for it and stuff.
Yeah, he has.
All right,
I
just
didn't
need to
order
get
the
everybody's
deed.
diamonds after,
though,
so I can write it on my pad.
You've already got mine.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is.
Oh, I thought you wrote it.
I did write it. I don't remember which ones you wrote. I put people's names down, just their IDs.
Oh, his license number
It really stinks that they
2499.
changed the whole license
For
thing,
1-2.
but you could always figure out.
Who's that? Oh,
I hate it, because there's no way to figure it out.
No.
Not now, because
No.
there's no rhyme or reason for it.
No, that was pretty unique the way they did it.
Yeah, they
Changed
did it.
made
It's,
it
I
super
noticed
easy
it's
for
different
people
now.
to forge it. That's the problem.
different now.
Because I
It's-
used to be like, your birth month and your.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you
First
last-
and last initial.
Yeah.
First initial of your first name, last initial of your last name,
Yeah.
first initial of your first name, and then your date of birth, which made it nice.
Yeah.
And it was either a 1 or a 2 at the end, depending on if somebody else had the same. But,
But now some sort of long number.
yeah.
So we've obviously moved into signing of documents, so we were in correspondence. Do we have any
I'm
more of
sorry.
that? or-
Yeah. No, that was the end of your
Okay,
correspondence.
so we can continue with signing of documents and then we'll
I
we'll
wanted to
go
make, I
backwards
wanted to be
after.
sure you signed everything.
Okay.
Then you can start making fun of me for minutes.
Do we have anything else to?
To sign? No.
Okay. So that moves us into, I guess we'll just do it again, public comment in case there's any further comment on anything we've talked about with budgets and the
Hey,
like.
did you need to talk to them about something?
Nope, I'm just here to observe.
Okay.
Okay, but thank you for asking. Yeah.
All right. So that will move us on to the draft minutes and then the motions for the trustees. Bring up a copy of the draft minutes. Once I find them again.
What?
Do you have the draft minutes or the motions handy?
Yeah, I do. I have both. Which one would you rather? Both?
Yeah, both is fine.
Okay. Those are the motions. And here are the draft minutes.
Yes, our wonderful stack. Let's see here. Yeah, so we only have one listed, which is of course the
Yeah, but there's
the long public, but we will have another one as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
you've got a few non-public ones in
This looks like, oh, this is just another copy of this one. So
there.
we've
Oh, did I
got
put
one
two
for-
copies in there?
For each, it looks, yeah. So if you need a copy of that one.
sure.
That may be because of the amendment we made today.
Yeah, well, I didn't post it.
I know, but,
Well, I
but,
posted it today.
oh, you posted
Okay,
it
that's a
today?
different
Yeah.
one.
The changes?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Public hearing, process. Fire damage bid. Audit.
Chief, when, remember that, last meeting, was it last meeting? 20th, yeah, it was the last meeting. We talked about that Long Street and the growth at the corner of Long and 127. Did you do anything with that?
I talked to DOT, they're gonna see about cutting it back.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, yeah, because it is pretty dangerous.
They were supposed to do it when they did the roadside mowing, but I see they didn't cut it back.
Yeah, well, they're probably in a big rush, so get home.
Have we, going through these minutes again, have we heard anything back about the school signing the MOUs yet?
I think they're waiting for me to send them the impact money. I don't know that for sure, but.
Well, we made the motion to do that contingent upon the signed and executed MOUs, so.
Well, they haven't said they're not gonna sign it,
Mhm.
so I think it's just I don't have it back yet.
Okay.
But we also haven't given them the impact money yet, because Michelle is trying to,
Well, we need to see the signed and executed MOUs first, because that's the way we did the motion.
is it in there that way?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well then what do you want me to do? You want me to
I
tell
was just
Michelle to
curious
hold
if
off?
I was just curious if they had gotten back to us with the fully signed copies yet.
You've already signed
So-
your side of the MOU.
We've signed
so-
ours,
Yeah,
but the way we made the motion to pay the impact fee was that they also had to sign it so that it would be fully executed.
okay, well, I'll have Michelle give me the check when she gets it,
Mhm.
and I will hold on to that until I see the whites of the MOU.
Make sure they're aware of that,
Yes,
that they need to show their whites.
and I don't think that's an issue at all, I think it's,
No.
they were. The impact fee is very clumsy to withdraw from.
Yep.
It's a very clumsy system.
Have we heard anything about the plans for taking care of the steps further for
I've
winter
mentioned it-
traction?
I've mentioned it to Brenda with the traction,
Yeah,
but I haven't.
okay.
Step looks nice though, all
Yeah.
painted.
But
The
it's
steps have
two
been
different
taken care of
colors, though.
nicely.
Is it two different colors?
Yeah,
Oh, that must, I thought it
Oh,
was the
you
same.
mean just at the top? like
Yeah.
you go- Yeah.
yeah.
I've never got through it.
I guess I would've just kept going, no? What?
Well, I hate to tell you, I'm colorblind.
Oh, I thought you were looking at me like, geez, Marlo, it's not really that bad.
Although I see color, I
But
just may
if my,
not
if my
notice.
husband walked up and be like, why did they paint those two colors?
I'm teasing, but I'll
So you
ask
mentioned
Brenda.
that you had made changes to this?
Kelly and Dana had
No
done a
paint
little bit
match.
of editing
Oh.
before I found out that he had sent it to the board, before I'd had my edit.
And
So if you just want to.
grammatic and spelling?
It's just grammatic
Yeah,
stuff.
all right. So I would move that we accept the minutes from September 20th, 2021 as presented to us in edited, amended form.
And I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that moves us on to other minutes for
We got one minute.
September 20th. Wait, oh, this is another copy of that.
Yeah, because I have, my-
And then we
I,
have a non-public that night too.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting to pick up. And I just had
That one's from,
another copy. I'm like, wait a minute.
isn't there section
All
one
right.
and section?
We wanted to be sure you had copies.
wow, it's good. Doing your job. Keeping us in line.
Yes. Let's do the short one first. So non-public meeting 2 from September 7th. And
Motion.
that's that one, just so you can refresh yourself, because I'm sure you've already read them.
Make a motion to accept this?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that one, that?
All right, and that brings us to the other non-public session 1 on September 7th, 2021. And that is, yes. Mhm. Evaluations.
Okay.
See anything that needs to be?
Nope, that looks
Change.
familiar.
All right. So I would move that we accept the non-public session 1 minutes from September 7th, 2021 as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. This is, here we go, session 2. Oh, right, because this was the next meeting afterwards. See, they're not quite This is what I get for not having everything directly in front of me. So, session 2 for September 20th, which was another evaluation.
I make a motion to accept it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Looks like next is session 1, September 20th.
I make a motion to accept it.
Second.
I would like to make a comment to change this.
Uh-oh.
This is the contract, and I would like to suggest that we amend this to replace it with discussion for the need for a custodial contract and the responsibilities that are needed to do so. Do either of you agree with that change?
Can I just see what that was, please?
Which there's no contract right now.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, I think you're kind of right.
And the reason that I say that is these are currently sealed minutes. And then
Yeah.
we would not have a reason to leave them sealed if we do that.
Yeah, I think that's a good amendment, yes, or
Okay.
change, whatever you want to call it.
So I would, which one of you made it? I think you need to rescind it.
I rescind my motion to accept.
I rescind my second.
All right, and so then I would move to accept the non-public meeting session 1 sealed minutes from September 20th as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then I would move to unseal those amended minutes from September 20th, 2021, session 1.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can you tell me again what the amendment was?
Let me see it so I grabbed the words off of it when I said it.
No,
The
Dis-
need for a custodial contract and responsibilities needed to do so.
Yes. Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Did you get that?
Yep.
All right. I guess we hand that one over to him. Let's see. We already did that. So then it is September 27th, non-public, unapproved minutes, and that was for a few different reputation items. And that, it looks fine to me. Any other,
Just wanted to
why don't you double look
say-
over it?
Yes, double. Okay. Want to make a mo, are you making a motion?
Sure. I would move that we accept the non-public meeting minutes from September 27th, 2021 as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You want this in your pile or over here?
That's going to be all motions.
All right, I think that takes care of all of our meeting minutes. Did I miss one
No,
somewhere in the
I
packet?
think you have done it.
Okay.
I lied on the agenda, there was something.
All right, so that moves us on to the motions for the trustees of trust funds, of which we only have one this
Oh,
time.
that's nice.
Oh, gee whiz.
I'd move to request the trustees of trust funds issue a check in the amount of $13,229.49 for invoices P2005728 in the amount of $2,504.87. Invoice P2005738 in the amount of $3,042.10. Invoice P2005759 in the amount of $3,028.55. Invoice P2005775 in the amount of $2,836.96. And invoice P2005790 in the amount of $1,817.01, payable to Bosco and Sand and Gravel for road construction for Concord Drive. These funds to be withdrawn from the Highways and Roads Capital Reserve Fund.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So that appears to take care of that.
Sign a document.
Last call for anything public.
We signed all the documents, right?
Well, I mean,
Oh, wait.
no, I guess it's not. Okay.
All
Not
right.
yet, anyway.
And in that vein, last call for public comment, if you'd like. All right. So we will now head into non-public sessions, and once we are done non-publics, we will immediately close and adjourn the meeting following. So that's why you will not see a stream start back up again when we are done. For the sake of it, on the agenda, you will see them listed, but they are for contract negotiation and employee reviews. So thank you very much. I now move that at 8:32, we go into non-public session under RSA 91A2D for contract negotiations.
Okay, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
You need me to leave so you guys can